Shalom. Call hello Yahawah Shai. Double honors to the men that I learned this truth from, starting with the apostles and elders of a great millstone. Yahawah Shai Barakathum to the hopeful elect. Just back with a quick video dealing with a question in regards to basically just touching on paganism and dealing with the holidays of this world, which is paganism. All right, because real quick, man, I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 5. It says, Ephesians 4 and 5. It says, one Lord, one faith, one baptism. All right. So basically, man, because you got a lot of people, when you're in this truth for a while, man, or at least for me personally, one common thing you come across a lot when it comes to people and their argument is how they get into how they try to argue how we gotta respect all religions. All right, we gotta respect all denominations, so on and so forth. When there's only one power, man. There's only one Yahawah and there's only one Yahweh Shai. All right, because all things are done by Yahawah in the name of His only begotten Son through the Holy Spirit. All right. So there's only one. All right, one way, one path. If you want to make it into the kingdom of heaven, all right. There's only one way, and even in the ancient world, man, dealing with respecting other people's religions, so on and so forth. Even the Most High told our forefathers in the ancient world, man, when it comes to these other religions, man, destroy them. Break down their altars. All right, stomp them out until they're dust and cast them into the oceans. And that's how the Lord feels about these other nations. These other nations, but these other gods, because again, there is only one power. All right, and He's a jealous power. And with that being said, again, because there is a system that Yahawah Shai has set up, and included in that system, going back to the topic, dealing with these holidays. All right, Yahawah Shai, he has holidays set up for us to follow after. All right, which are really holy days, because when it comes to these days that Yahawah Shai set up, they're really holy days, high holy days. All right, versus Esau's holidays, all right, which is patented after Yahawah Shai's high holy days. All right, because everything when it comes to Esau, he's he plagiarizes it. All right, because even when it comes to the Esau and the his different, when it comes to his basically his wickedness, all right, he's not even an originator when it comes to wickedness, because everything that you see in this society, man, dealing with the symbolism, all right, all Esau's, all his symbolism, all his paganism, I'll say, he basically got it from the other nations. All right, which it really started with the Canaanites. That's pretty much where all these different different religions and these holidays, all right, all these things, it really all started with the Canaanites. And again, Esau, he plagiarized that. He stole that. All right, but nevertheless, man, even when it comes to the high holy days of Yahawah Shai, Esau, he even mimics that on the left hand. You know, everything that anything that Yahawah Shemel Shai has on the right hand in righteousness, Esau mimics it on the left hand. All right. You know, but getting into it, man. And this is pretty basic. I'm gonna go to Amos chapter 5. Now, this is dealing with the these holidays, all right, that we worship, or we once worship, because when we're in this truth, man, we shouldn't be partaking in these things. All right. Now, you may ask, which holidays do we need to stay away from? Stay away from all of them. All right. If it's not a holiday that you see in the Bible, stay away from it. All right. Because that's Esau's madness. You know, matter of fact, before I get this, I'm going to go to Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. It says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach. All right. So, yeah, man, we gotta beware these false traditions, that we've been following after before we came into this truth. We got to put that, because the scriptures say, dealing with the rudiments of this world, the scriptures say, if, matter of fact, let me go to it. I haven't brought this out in a long time. See if I can look for this real quick. Because, dealing with this topic, dealing with the holidays of this world, this actually could be a stumbling block to a lot of Jake. When they come into this truth, they've been following after these holidays. They've been keeping these customs for so long. When they come into this truth, for some Jake, it might be a hard thing for them to, detach from, but nevertheless, we definitely have to depart from it. All right, we can't partake in these things, and I'm gonna touch on that a little bit, because again, going back to the paganism, basically, dealing with paganism is basically, man, it's just going into false gods. All right, which, like I said before, Yahawah Shemel Shai, the Heavenly Father Himself, He's a very jealous power. We've constantly been, in and out of slavery because we provoked the Most High to jealousy. We moved Him to wrath. All right, following after these other customs of the heathens, which the Lord strictly given us commandments. All right, because the Lord told us countless times to stop following after these damn heathens. But Jake, they don't want to do that. Jake, they want to do their own thing, and this is why we've constantly been in, like I said, been in and out of slavery. We're constantly getting jacked up. All right. Because everything dealing with these heathens, man, everything that they do, everything that they worship, all right, it's in vain. All right. They sacrifice it unto false idols. And I'm going to get that after I get this in 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. For if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. All right. And like I read in Colossians 2 and 8, all right, dealing with the traditions of men, all right, the rudiments of this world, and not after Yahamashiach, which is the anointed, all right, talking about Yahawah Shai, because pretty much everything that this world promotes, it's against Yahawah Shemel Shai. Everything that Yahawah Shemel Shai has set up, Esau, because he's the one that's ruling the earth right now, he's the one that's in charge of the world right now, all right, Job 9 and 24, the earth given into the hand of the wicked. Everything that Yahawah Shemel Shai is against, Esau promotes it, all right, in the society. And this is why everything in the society, man, it's all backwards. The foundations of this earth is all out of course. And I'm going to get that as well. But, yeah, man, 1 John 2 and 15 again says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. All right. Because one thing, man, we're definitely supposed to hate this place, man. With all this wickedness that's going on, with the agenda, with the LGB, ABCQRS, whatever you want to call them. You know, they're shoving that shit down our throats. All right. Women are all out of order. Children are all, you know, unruly and disobedient. You know, this is this being in this place, man. It's supposed to be vexing. We're supposed to hate this place. And this is why the elder apostle Tahar coined this year the year of hastening the coming of Yahawah. All right, because we want to see this place be destroyed. You know, and something that we ought to, you know, remind ourselves, man, if we catch ourselves in that spirit of basically, man, you know, catching any type of feelings towards this place, any type of attachments to this place, we got to rebuke those spirits immediately, man. All right, because again, and this is why it's best to not have it's best not to be too invested into this world. All right. You know, this is why a lot of brothers, for the most part, man, you know, a lot of us, man, we don't have a lot of money. You know, we don't have a bunch of cars, big houses and stuff like that. It's good. It's better that way. All right. Because if we did, we would be more emotionally invested and attached to this place. And with that being said, it would be harder for us to detach from this place, you know. So this is why, you know, like I said, for the most part, man, you know, it's you know, we just, you know, we get by, man. All right. Like the elder apostle Bar often says, we're not living. We're just existing. And like I said, it's better that way. All we need is enough just to get by. All right. And it's better that way, you know, because the less attachments, the better. But nevertheless, we're supposed to hate this place, because if you hate this place, if you love this place, then the love of Yahawah is not in you. All right. You know, when Yahawah walked the earth, you know, Yahawah, man, with all the miracles that he committed, man, all the miracles that he performed, all right, he was still hated, man. He was persecuted, and ultimately he was crucified. All right. You know, so if they hated the world, man, or if the world hated Yahawah, all right, you know, then, you know, we're supposed to, if the spirit of Yahawah is in you, you're supposed to have that same feeling. All right. Like the scriptures talk about a lot during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. We're in that spirit a lot. Where Lot, man, he was vexed daily, you know, with the filthy conversations. Lot was sick and tired of the shit that he had to deal with, everything of the filthy conversations that he had to hear. He was sick and tired of it. And that's how we ought to be. All right. We just got to hate this place, man. All right. And again, if not, man, then, you know, if you find yourself catching any type of feelings, you really don't want to see this place be destroyed, then you ought to rebuke that spirit immediately, man, you know, and get yourself in order, because basically if you don't, then Yahawah, you're basically going to be destroyed with this place. It's going to leave you here to be destroyed with it. All right, because whether any of us love this place or not, the Lord is going to destroy this place, and you're either going to be on board with it or you're not. All right. And that includes dealing with these holidays. If you keep celebrating these holidays, the holidays of Esau, all right, the tradition of men, you're going to be destroyed with this place as well, you know. But let me go to this in 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 21. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 20. 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 says, but I say, verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. So you see, going back to what I said, when it comes to these nations, because dealing with these holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these holidays, the holidays of the world, all right, some way, shape, form, or fashion, the origins of these pagan holidays, there's some type of sinister origins to it. All right, you know, it stems from some type of wickedness. Like when you touch on Christmas, all right, you know, and this is stuff that you could just look into it. You would have to look in for yourself, because talking about the origins, of these pagan holidays, it could be here for hours. All right, but just briefly dealing with like Christmas. All right, Christmas, which when you break down the word alone, man, Christmas, Christ, which goes back to the Hamashiach, it just means the anointed, and the Mas, I believe that's a word that stems from, it basically goes back to the meaning of death. All right, the Christ Mass, right? Which basically is just the and that's actually a part of when you read in Revelation 13, verse 18, when it talks about the chai stigma. Part of that is the Xing out of the Messiah, the doing away of the anointed one, talking about Yahawah, because that's a part of Esau. Part of his plans is to X out the Messiah, X out the ordinances of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, and to usher in his way of doing things, because Esau, he portrays himself as the Most High. All right, he wants to be in the seat of the Most High, and that's ultimately, when you read in Revelation 13, 16, and 17, that's ultimately what that's going into. Esau basically branding himself as the Most High, because dealing with that, that's pretty much going to be Esau's way of accomplishing that. For people that take that thing, because we can't even say the word M-A-R-K anymore. They'll take the video down now. But dealing with that thing, all right, if you take it, you pretty much accepted Esau as your God, because that's pretty much the whole point when it comes to Esau and his his goals, his agenda. All right, and again, in the part of doing that, he has to do away with the natural ordinances of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. All right, wiping out his image, the true image of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, which really took place during the time of the Renaissance, or the rebirth. All right, you read about iconoclasm, and this is when they you read about the whitewashing. All right, because you could just something called Russian icons, because originally, after the Roman Empire fell, all right, you read about the Dark Ages, the so-called Dark Ages, all right, or the Middle Ages. This was a time period where Jake was ruling. So-called black men, they were ruling Europe. And during this time, Esau, they were basically chasing the Caucasus Mountains. All right, walking around on all fours and shit like brute beast. And during this time, Esau, or after that time, this is where you read about the Renaissance, the rebirth, and this is when you read about the Borgias, all right, how they came into power, all right, and this is when they started. This is when they started with the whitewashing and iconoclasm. They started painting over all the images of the Jake that were ruling during that time, all right, and made them so-called white, white men, all right, but again, just sticking to the point, touching on this Christmas, all right, like I said, just the name alone, when you break down the name, basically the death of the Messiah, all right, and real quick, because like I said, man, touching on this, you can be touching on it for hours, all right. Like they say, December 25th is supposedly the birth of Yahawah, when the scriptures clearly talk about how Yahawah, he was born during the Passover. All right. And real quick, I'm going to get this in Luke chapter 2. Now, December 25th, of course, obviously that's in the in the middle of winter. All right. But when you read here, and this is the birth of Yahawah, and Luke chapter 2, verse matter of fact, I'll start at verse 1 just to prove a point. Luke 2:1, it says, "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world shall be taxed." All right. It says, "And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria." Now, pretty much when it's tax season, all right, when people get get their tax checks, get their tax return and stuff like that. That's typically right after the winter season, going into the spring. Because again, that's when the Passover is, and that's when Yahawah was born. Yahawah was born on the Passover, which takes place during the spring. All right. Jumping down to verse 5, it says, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. So this was a time Mary, was to give birth to Yahawah, which was not a immaculate conception. Joseph, the parents of Yahawah, Joseph and Mary, they physically had sex and conceived. All right, it was no miracle birth, so to say, or no angel came down and impregnated Mary, or none of that. Joseph and Mary actually had sex to conceive Yahawah. But verse 7, it says, and she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. All right. Now, just a little more proof showing that Yahawah, he wasn't born in the middle of summer. All right. Because again, this firstborn son is talking about Yahawah. And what did it say here? Again, verse 7, it says, and she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger. Now, when you look up what a manger is, it's basically like this box that cattle, they feed out of it. All right, which it makes sense that this was something that would be outside. Because when you read on, it says, because there was no room for him, because there was no room for them in the inn. So you see, all right, and they were staying in this inn because it was a Passover time. All right, which is one of the high holy days we're supposed to be keeping. When you go to Deuteronomy, I think that's Deuteronomy 16 and 16. Deuteronomy 16 and 16, it says, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahawah thy power in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, which is the Passover, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before Yahawah empty. So 3 times out of the year, we were supposed to, go up to Jerusalem and keep these high holy days. All right. And this is one of those, going back to this, one of those, times of the year. All right. Where Jake, they would come up to celebrate these holidays. All right. And this is why, again, they were staying in the inn. But the point being, back in Luke 2 and 7, it says, and she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, which again is basically a feeding instrument, or not an instrument, but a feeding box for cattle. All right. Which would typically be something that's outside. So if Yahawah was born in the middle of the summer, or excuse me, if he was born in the middle of winter, why the hell would Mary leave her son in the freezing cold? It just makes sense that, this would have taken place when it's, nicer weather, which again, Yahawah, he was born in the springtime, man. He wasn't born in the dead of winter. All right. You can't leave a baby out inside of a manger in the middle of winter. Typically during the winter, the cattle, they're locked up or whatever the case may be. All right. So they don't die in the freezing cold and stuff like that. All right. So it just makes sense. Yahawah, Mary wouldn't put her son in the freezing cold, lay him in this feeding box in the freezing cold. It just, that doesn't make sense. All right. But touching on this Christmas, because again, this is, this stuff that you can, you'd have to look up the origins of these different holidays. All right. Again, the difference, with the high holy days. All right. And the holidays, the high holy days of Yahawah Shem Yahushua and the holidays of Esau. All right. So talking about the holidays, December, Christmas being one of these holidays. Actually, when you go back to, when you go way back in the book of Genesis, the 10th chapter, And this is an origin of this holiday, all right, this pagan holiday. Genesis 10 and verse 8. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 8, because like I said, Esau, he's not an originator. All right. All the false holidays and the idols and stuff that he worships today, because everything in this society is built off false idols, man. Or like on the back of the dollar bill, you see all type of symbolism, which also, more, because Revelation, the 11th chapter tells you that America is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. All right. And a lot of the symbolism that's on the back of the $1 bill alone, man, lets you know, it's just more proof that America is Egypt, it's spiritual Egypt. All right. Because a lot of those, the symbols that's on the back of the dollar bill, man, that goes back to ancient Egypt. All right. But reading this in Genesis chapter 10 and verse 8, it says, and Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahawah, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahawah. All right. Now, just touching on this guy by the name of Nimrod. All right. Like I said here, man, he was a mighty mighty hunter before the Lord. When you touch on this chapter, or it might actually be the 11th chapter. Yeah, the 11th chapter goes into basically this new world order that they were trying to set up. All right, when you read the Genesis, the 11th chapter, which was basically Nimrod, he was basically the head of that. And I'm gonna just read this. Well, I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna skim through it real quick just to make sure, because I don't want to give out any false information. So yeah, dealing with Genesis, the 11th chapter, when you read on down, going into, because dealing with this new world order, the so-called new world order, is really an old world order. All right, they've always tried to establish this one world order. All right, this is something that they always tried to do, and it started here, like I said, when you read this chapter, Genesis, the 11th chapter, and Nimrod, he was the spearhead of that, but basically, not to get too in detailed in it, basically this character by the name of Nimrod, he died. All right. And again, when you go, there's different stories to what happened, but basically, when this character died, all right, supposedly there was a tree that sprung up where he was buried. All right. And his mother, Nimrod's mother, she basically took that as like some sort of sign, and she basically she forced people to reverence this tree. All right. She made people pay homage to this tree by way of gifts. All right. And what does that sound like? That sounds like Christmas. Now, when you go to the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, all right, like I said, man, it's a real, in-depth thing, in-depth topic dealing with the origins of these different holidays. All right, like this holiday, with Thanksgiving, Now, it's no secret. It's obvious that a lot of people know Thanksgiving basically started with the mass genocide of the tribes of Gad and Reuben, the so-called North American Indians and the Seminole Indians. All right. They were damn nearly wiped out, man. These tribes were almost exterminated. All right. But nevertheless, when you celebrate Thanksgiving, this is what you're commemorating. All right. This is what you're remembering. You're celebrating the slaughter of your brothers and sisters. All right. But again, that's just Thanksgiving. That's the obvious one. But reading this in Jeremiah chapter 10, still talking about this subject on Christmas. All right. Jeremiah 10 and 1, it says, hear ye the word of Yahawah, speak unto Hear ye the word which Yahawah speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahawah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. All right. Because again, on another note, man, dealing with the practices of the nations, man, these heathens, man. All right. Something simple, man, like Sunday. All right. What's common amongst our people, common amongst these different religions, going to church on Sunday. All right. When basically, man, Esau, man, he looked at the sun and called that day Sunday, man. Just basic stuff like that. Monday, Esau, he looked at the moon and called that day Monday. So on and so forth, man. Because that's what the nations do. They look up at all the stars and the heavens and stuff like that, man. All the signs of the heaven, and they idolize it. They worship it. They worship every damn thing. They worship plants, trees, cows. They worship every damn thing. And this is why the Lord was constantly telling us, stop following after these heathens. Do not follow after the customs of these heathens. Because real quick, going back to not Jeremiah, 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 again. All right. Everything that they do is in vain, and basically when you celebrate these holidays, all right, and all these customs of the heathens, you're basically worshiping Satanism, man. You're basically a Satanist. Because that's what, when it comes to what these nations, who they sacrifice to, it basically all goes to Satan. Because if it's outside of Yahawah, all right, it's Satan. And that's why I read Ephesians 4 and 5. There's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism, man. Anything outside of that is paganism, all right, which goes back to Satanism. So 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20 again, it says, But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils. So you see, all right, it's all Satanism. All right. And this is why we're not ought to be celebrating these holidays. All right. Or doing any of these things, these paganistic things that the heathens do, man. All right. Because it's all Satanism, man. Matter of fact, I read on down, it says, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord in the cup of the devil, in the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? Hell no. All right. And that's what we constantly did, man. We constantly provoked the Lord to jealousy. We constantly moved him to wrath. Why? Because we've fallen after the customs of these heathens, fallen after these satanic rituals. All right. Because these sacrifices that, when we conduct these activities, dealing with these holidays, all right, those are rituals, man. Those are sacrifices you're committing on the left hand. All right, you're putting up sacrifices to Satan. And here in Amos chapter 5, just go ahead and get this. Amos chapter 5 and verse 20, it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. All right. So whenever people come together for these holidays, man, they cook a big ass dinner and barbecue and stuff, man. When it's time to eat, everyone's throwing up prayers and stuff. Everyone gets together and they say prayers or whatever. The Lord hates that shit. All right. That's a wicked sacrifice to Yahawah. I'm talking about these feasts that they do, because like I said, man, we do these things on the right hand when it comes to Passover, the Passover dinner and stuff like that, man. Certain high holy days of Yahawah requires a feast, requires you to cook certain foods and stuff like that. That's righteous sacrifice. But when it comes to these holidays of Esau, all right, these false rudiments, all right, on the left hand, and people are coming together and cooking food, all right, singing psalms, singing kumbayas, and all this other shit. The Lord hates that shit, all right, because, people think that, hey, man, the Lord can't hate. The Lord hates a lot of things, man, all right, and people, all right. The Lord hates a lot of stuff, and he hates certain, people, man. The Lord hates a lot of stuff. And that's one of the things he can't stand, man. People coming together for Christmas dinner, cooking food and singing kumbaya, singing Christmas carols. All right. The Lord hates that shit. All right. And when you read on, it says, though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beast. All right. Of your fat beast. All right. So again, because like I said, certain high holy days of Yahawah Shem Shah does require certain, food to be made, certain feasts and stuff like that. That's a righteous sacrifice. But dealing with these holidays, when people come together for Easter, which dealing with Easter, man, that's a mimic of when you read the book of Esther, all right, where it talks about Purim. That's where Purim comes from, all right, because you see the high holy days of Yahawah Shem Shai, they have origins, man. They have righteous origins to them, all right, like Hanukkah. You read about the Maccabees, all right, first and second Maccabees. That's where Hanukkah came from. These are holidays high holy days we celebrate, or we're supposed to celebrate and supposed to observe and remember, all right, but dealing with Purim, all right, dealing with Purim, and that's where they get the concept of Easter from. All right, or Estar, man, which basically goes back to woman worship for the most part. Stuff like what do you call it? What's this? The one in February, man. See, I can't even remember the names of these things, man. Oh man, Valentine's Day. All right, when you look into the origin of Valentine's Day, man, that goes back to the sex goddess, man. A lot of orgies that they commit, a lot of orgies that they commit and stuff like that, man. Basically, you're commemorating a sex god. Like I said, man, just touching on these different false holidays, man. Like June 19th, that's coming up, or they call it Juneteenth. Which they're about to make that a federal holiday. Joe Biden, I think he just signed it to where they made it a federal holiday. But Jake, man, they celebrate Juneteenth because they think it was a time of liberation when the slaves were freed, man. When Jake has no idea when it comes to Juneteenth, man, June 19th, Jake don't know that you were only freed from physical slavery, but now it was transferred to being contractor slaves. If you see, Jake, that's another topic in itself, man. Jake don't even know that, because in this society, man, everything is built off keeping you Jakes. And this is basically a debt society, man. And that's basically what the what do you call it? The emancipation was all about. Transferring you from physical chains to basically spiritual chains, man. Contractual slaves. That's basically what all that was about. And I'm sure when the time comes, I'm sure brothers are going to do videos on it because Jake, this is part of the folly, man. Jake, they're following after these false wicked traditions of men, but dealing with this in Amos chapter 5 and verse of 22 again, it says, though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beast. And that's what Jake is getting ready to do come Juneteenth, man. They're getting ready to come together and barbecue, all right, so on and so forth. That's a wicked sacrifice, man. That's an abomination to Yahawah Shem Shai. When you read verse 23, it says, take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. So you see, like I said, singing kumbayas and all that shit, man. The Lord don't want to hear none of that shit. He hates it. He despises it when people come together for these different these holidays, all right, cooking all this food, singing these kumbayas. The Lord hates all that. So that's why it's good that, not to be partaking in it, man. Do not partake in these things. If it doesn't line up with scripture, man, dealing with the high holy days, don't celebrate it. Because if you do, man, you basically a Satanist, man. All right. And that's what all these things at the end of the day, man, all these holidays, they go back to Satanism at the end of the day. All right. But going back to this in Jeremiah 10, And verse 2 again is, thus saith Yahawah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed. Why? Because like I read in 1 Corinthians 10 and 20, they sacrifice to devils, man. All right. It says, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Like I said, hey, these nations, because Yahawah Shem Shai, he's not their God. All right. And the nations, in the ancient world, man, they seen how the Heavenly Father moved on our behalf, and they were jealous of that. So this is why these nations, they make gods out of everything, man. All right. Because the Lord ain't dealing with them. So they make their own gods. All right. But verse 3 says, for the customs of the people are vain. It's pointless. It means nothing. You see, our high holy days, they mean something, man. That's our history. All right. But when it comes to these customs of these heathens, it's pointless. It means nothing. All right. And we're above that, man. Here it is, Jacob trying to, be equal to these nations, man. When we really got to get in our mindset, we're above these people, man. We're above these nations. And, I remember in the group chat talking about this guy, Omni-Man, Invincible Man. I was talking about this guy, Omni-Man, man. Basically what he was saying when he beat the shit out of his son, almost beat him to death. All right. Omni-Man was trying to tell him, look, man, we're above these people, man. These people, man, they're worthless. They're pathetic, man. They need to be ruled, and in a way he was right. He was 100% right, man. Seeing how these peons, man, these simpletons, man. And that's what the children of Israel, when we get back into power, all right, we're going to rule these nations, man, because they need to be ruled. They need to be led. All right, because if not, then you see, man, you just look around the world. Look at what these nations, look at these nations, man. They worshiping cows. All right. They worship the sun, the moon, the stars. All right. They worship every damn thing. They need to be led, man. And that's exactly what's going to happen when we get back into power. Because you best believe we're not going to be celebrating Christmas and all this other shit in the kingdom. All right. And let us find out, these nations are trying to, set up a Christmas tree in their house and shit like that, man. Hey, man, they're going to see us, man. We going to see them. All right. They're going to catch a visit, man. Because you see, in our kingdom, man, we're going back to, this is what the Lord is doing. He's grooming us now. He's prepping us now to be kings and judges. All right. And you see, man, in the kingdom, we're going to be judges. We're going to be judging in righteousness. That includes the nations. And you see why, man. They worship everything. But verse 3 again, it says, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen, with the axe. All right. So like Christmas. All right. The Christmas tree. All right. Verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. All right. What does that sound like? All the bells and stars and shit, the lights they put on the Christmas tree, they deck it out, man. They put what do you call it, man? Damn, I forgot what it's called. They put that thing on the top of it, that star or whatever. All right. You see, man, it's like I said, it's so detailed. All because when it comes to the decorating the Christmas tree, all that has meaning to it. All that has some type of sinister meaning to it. All right. From the star, all right, that they put on top of the Christmas tree, all right, from all the ornaments that they put on, it all has it goes back to some sinister meaning. It all has some sinister meaning to it. All right. Even what do you call it, man? The mistletoe, man. That goes back to a pagan origin. The mistletoe, man. All right. The presents that they put under the tree, man. That's why I read in Genesis, man. Well, I didn't read it, but I mentioned it because again, that goes back to Nimrod, man. When Nimrod died, all right, his mother, supposedly he was buried. Where he was buried, there a tree had sprung up, and she took some type of sign to it, and she forced the people into paying homage to that tree with gifts, presents. She decked the tree out, so on and so forth. And when you really go into it, all right, when you really go into the history of the Christmas tree, which goes back to Nimrod, it really, you really, people don't even know, man. You're really worshiping a penis, man. All right, having a Christmas tree in your house and paying reference to the Christmas tree, you're really worshiping Nimrod's penis. But you see, again, this is something that you just have to, you have to do in-depth research on your own, because you could be talking about this stuff for hours, man. But verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So you see, that's the Christmas tree, man. Which goes back to the worship of Nimrod. All right, around that time, man, December 25th, well, I'm not even gonna get into that, because, like I said, man, I might be going on for a long time just dealing with that. But yeah, man, dealing with these holidays, man, the holidays of Esau. All right. Matter of fact, there's a precept. Where's that at, man? Let me see if I can look for this real quick. Because to show you how jacked up the world is under Esau's rulership. Because it talks about the fir trees, man. When Esau gets taken out of power, and the Israelites get put back in power, even the trees are going to be rejoicing. All right, because dealing with those Christmas trees, man, they cut millions and millions of those trees down every year. All right, and this is why the ecosystem is all jacked up, man. The water, the oceans are all jacked up. All right, but it tells you even the fir trees, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to look for it. See if I can type this in. Damn, where's it at, man? I think that's in Isaiah, man. This might be it, but let me. Now, because trees are often referred to. They can, depending on the context. Oftentimes trees, when scriptures talk about trees, it's actually talk about people. Like sometimes when it talks about the seas, when the scriptures refer to the seas, it can be in reference to people. All right, like the when you read in Genesis and it talks about the trees, all right, it's referring to the other nations. All right, it's not referring to actual trees. Like they teach in this world, man. Eve didn't eat an actual apple. There's nowhere in the Bible it says Eve ate an apple, but it's just going into different philosophies and stuff like that. The philosophies of the other nations. All right, but let me see if this is it, man. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this. No, this isn't it, but the scriptures talk about how even the fir trees, when Yahawah puts Israel back in power, man, even the fir trees, man, are going to be rejoicing and singing, man. Because like I said, Esau cut so many trees down a year, all right, and this is why this is why the ecosystem is all jacked up, man. All right, but you see, in the kingdom, all the trees, the plant life, the ecosystem, all that's going to be restored back to health. All right, everything's going to be set in set back up in righteous order. Everything's going to be at rest. Everything's going to be at peace. All right. You know, and this is why we long for the kingdom, man. All right. Even in creation itself, man, the earth itself is waiting. It's crying out to Yahawah Shemel Shai. Even the nations, man. And this is why there's protests and riots all over the earth. All right. Because even the nations are tired of Esau. But you see, even in the kingdom, after 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, the nations, man, they're going to enjoy. Even the nations are going to enjoy, being under rulership under the Israelites. Even the nations, man. All right. But I don't want to spend too much time looking for that. Just dealing with these holidays, man. Let me get this in Hosea chapter 4. Because I read Jeremiah 10. It's going to basically the Christmas tree, as well as all those other customs we're not supposed to be following after. I read in Amos, all right, dealing with the how the Lord hates and despises these feast days. He doesn't want to hear no songs, no melodies. He doesn't want to hear none of that shit. All right. I'm going to read this in Hosea 4 and verse 11. It says, whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. And verse 12, it says, my people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declareth unto them, for the spirit of whoredoms hath caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their power. All right. And you see, we committed spiritual fornication against our power. How? By, following after these other gods, man, serving and worshiping these other gods. Because again, the Most High, He is a jealous power. All right. And it means exactly that. Just like if you have a woman, you have a girlfriend, a wife, and she's talking to other men, all right, you're naturally, as a man, you're going to get jealous. All right. Which there's nothing wrong with that, man. Because that's your woman. That's your wife. There's nothing, when a man, when that happens in a society, they try to make it seem like, they look down upon a man that gets jealous that his woman is talking and she's entertaining other men. There's nothing wrong with that. That's natural. And that's how the Most High is. When He sees us dealing with other gods, because the scriptures liken us, the nation of Israel, to a woman that's espoused to Yahawah Shemel Shai. We are His woman. All right. And the fact that we're entertaining other gods, that makes the Lord very jealous. It hurts the Lord. It breaks His heart. So going back to what I said, this is why we're constantly in captivity. All right. Because we committed spiritual fornication against the Yahawah Shemel Shai. All right. Committing these wicked sacrifices. All right. Verse 13, it says, they sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains and burn incense upon the hills under oaks and poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore, your daughter shall commit whoredom, and your spouses shall commit adultery. So you see, the same way on another note, all right, because this is why within our community, man, J community, this is why our women are the biggest whores. All right. The scripture says that our wives shall be harlots in the streets. That was part of our punishment. All right. Because like I just mentioned, the example that I just used, our women are the biggest whores, man. And it sucks seeing our women and, just being the way that they are, man. They're all loose, man, all over the place, and it's an embarrassment. All right. But even more so, if you, personally, like I said, if you have a wife, all right, and she goes out committing being a harlot, committing adultery, that shit hurts, and the Lord set it up that way because now we know how the Lord feels to an extent. We have a little taste of how the Lord feels. So you see, man, because we committed spiritual fornication against our power, all right, and this is why things are the way they are. This is why you see so-called black women twerking, man, and just, they got some bodies on them, man. They got a high body count, man. I'm gonna just leave it at that before, they get all sensitive and take the video down, man. But nevertheless, man, we committed spiritual fornication against our power, man. Committing these wicked sacrifices against the Yahawah Shemel Shai. We're not supposed to be celebrating these holidays. All right. I'm gonna get this in Ezekiel 20 and 23, or actually 32. Ezekiel 20 and 32. It says, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. So you see, And this is the mindset of our people. They don't want to serve Yahawah Shem Shai. Jake wants to be like the heathens. They want to be like the other nations, man. They said, the hell with Yahawah Shem Shai. We want to be like the nations. And this is something that's always, Jake has always had that attitude, even way back in the beginning, man. All right, you know, when you read during the time of because Jake, like the other nations, man, they set up wood and stone and worship it, you know, and being that the Heavenly Father, he's not physically here to be king over us, all right, you know, to rule over us. Jake always looked at the other nations, and they said, we want a king, man. We want a king like that, man. We want a king like the other nations, one way we could touch, one we could feel, one we could speak to face. Jake always wanted that, because that's what the nations did, man. They see how the nations operated, and they envied that, all right? And that's when you read about during the time of King Saul, you know, that's the first king, you know, the Lord raised up King Saul, all right? You know, you can read that history. But nevertheless, this is the mindset of Jake. They want to be like the nations. They want to be like the heathen. And Esau, he gives you that privilege to do so. He allows that. Because like I said, everything in the society, man, is backwards. All right? Let me get that real quick. Isaiah 29:16. If this was a God-fearing country, you know, like they say it is, all right, then, hey, man, a lot of people will be put to death righteously. All right? Because like I said, here it is. They're forcing this ABCD LGBTQ community nonsense in our throats. All right. And this is a God-fearing country. All right. They would be putting these people to death. These unruly children, they will be put to death, because in our law, you're supposed to put an unruly child to death. All right. In our law, you're supposed to put a woman that commits adultery to death. A woman that's a whore, she's supposed to be put to death. All right. So if this was a God-fearing country like they say it is, all these people, man, they would be dying, man. They would be put to death, righteously so, you know. But as Isaiah 29:16, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. All right. So everything in this society, man, is all backwards, man. It's upside down. It's completely flipped. Because like I said, everything that Yahawah Shem Shai promotes, Esau, he's trying to do away with it. He says that's not good enough. All right. And everything that Yahawah Shem Shai is against, that's what Esau promotes. That's what he allows. That's what he exalts. All right. Which is completely backwards. It's opposite. All right. You know, and it's destructive. All right. This is why Yahawah Shem Shai set up laws in the first place. All right. Because just doing what you want, that do as thou wilt spirit, that's a very destructive lifestyle. All right. This is why Yahawah Shem Shai has laws set up to govern ourselves, man. You know. But again, we're under Esau's rulership, all right, you know, and this is what's going on today, man. You don't have to keep the laws of Yahawah Shem Shai. Do whatever you want, man. You can be the Sodomites, all right, and so on and so forth, man. All right, but I'm gonna get this in Leviticus, man, because like I read in Deuteronomy 16, three times in a year, it's supposed to come up for the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right, that's just a few examples of, you know, some of the high holy days that we're supposed to be keeping. But when you read the book here in the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, it basically gives you a list of what we're supposed to be keeping, man. The feast, the high holy days that we're supposed to be keeping. You know, like Leviticus 23:2 says, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahawah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feast. So you see, and again, you read the chapter, all right? These are what we're supposed to be keeping, man. These are the high holy days we're supposed to be celebrating and remembering and commemorating, all right? Not Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all these other bullshit holidays of Esau, man. I'm going to jump down to verse 14. It says, and ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn, nor green ears until the selfsame day that ye have brought in offering unto your power. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So all these feasts and you know, these holy convocations where we're supposed to come together and have these feasts and, you know, basically have a good time and stuff like that, man, you know, and you know, come together and give righteous sacrifices to Yahawah Shem Shai, so on and so forth. All right. These are the, you know, the feast and the high holy days we're supposed to be keeping throughout our generations in all of our dwellings. All right. Now, granted, we are in this captivity, so we can't keep the laws, and you know, we can't keep these things perfectly. But this is why we just observe, man. All right, you know, when these certain feasts and high holy days come around, we do our best to observe these days, man. You know, and remember, you know, because I mentioned like Purim. All right, you know, when you read the history of Purim, all right, if that didn't take place, if the Lord didn't deliver us, all right, because we were almost wiped out as a people. When you read the history, we were almost completely exterminated, you know. And if Purim didn't take place, none of us will be here. So, you know, stuff like that, man. You know, we just remember our history, you know, looking, you know, study and you know, basically giving all reverence, all credit, all glory to Yahawah Shemel Shai. You know, because like I said, man, dealing with our high holy days, the real high holy days of Yahawah Shemel Shai, they actually have true meaning behind it. There's real history, real purpose, real origins behind it. All right, and it's all in righteousness, man. You know, not these little punk ass holidays of Esau. All right, which mean nothing. And like I said, man, basically you celebrating these things, man. You're basically a Satanist. You're celebrating a Satan, man. You know, and you don't want that title, man. You don't want to be, you know, because like I said, man, if you know, people that, you know, they, because like I said, a lot of Jake, man, this could be a stumbling block to a lot of Jake. You know, coming into the truth, you find out that you can't celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that. You know, that can be a stumbling block. You know, but hey, if you still want to celebrate these holidays, that Yahawah Shemel Shai, man, he's going to destroy you. You know, so got to get with the program, man. You know. But yeah, I feel that I've rambled on enough, man. Hopefully this was edifying, you know. And once again, I'm gonna give all credit to Yahawah Shemel Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahawah Shemel Shai, Brakathum to the whole for the elect. Until next time, Lord's will, I say Shalom.